Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today for our 30 on Thursday webinar, Empowering Your Mobile Workforce with Nintex Mobile and Nintex App Studio. Just a little bit about Protiviti before we get started. We are a global consulting firm providing solutions to business problems in technology, business process, analytics, risk, and internal audit. Our full-service enterprise content management team has helped hundreds of clients realize the value of SharePoint and Office 365. Our 30 on Thursday webinar series is a bi-weekly webinar series where we talk all things SharePoint, Office 365, and Enterprise Content Management. Our next webinar will be on May 11th, where we'll be discussing embedding GRC and internal audit into your business. If you are interested in registering for that webinar and seeing all of our events, you can check out our website, ecm.protiviti.com/events. Protiviti has been awarded Nintex Partner of the Year 3 times. We do provide Nintex training on-site and online for individuals and groups. We also provide a workflow automation starter package, which provides Nintex licenses and on-demand support for one price. If you're interested in learning more about all the things that we do for Nintex, you can visit our website, ecm.protiviti.com. Today's session is being recorded. You can access today's recording and see past webinar recordings on our YouTube channel. For questions during the presentation today, please use the question window in the GoToMeeting toolbar, or you can live tweet us your questions at ProtivitiECM using the hashtag 30TNintex. We will be saving all the questions until after Eric's presentation today. Today's presenter is Eric Rhodes, manager at Protiviti. He is also a Nintex virtual technical evangelist, and I am Julia Marple, and I will be moderating today's session. So let's get started. Eric, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Julia. I'm going to go ahead and show my screen here.
Yep, looks good.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about today's agenda. So just real briefly. So today's agenda, we're going to, I'm just going to give a real brief overview of the Nintex workflow platform, then move right into Nintex Mobile and Nintex App Studio, and then at the very end of the webinar, we're going to have time for some questions here. So a little bit about the Nintex workflow platform. These are the different components of that. You've got Nintex Workflow, Nintex Forms, Nintex Mobile, and Nintex App Studio, which is what we're going to be talking about, those two items today. Nintex Draw Loop, document generation, which integrates with Salesforce, and the Nintex Hawkeye analytics tool for there. So really, we'll start out with Nintex Mobile here. So with Nintex Mobile, these are the key points for Nintex Mobile that I'm going to cover today. There's some great features with Nintex Mobile that you can get started with very quickly and very easily. So these are the things I'm going to touch on in demo. So I'm going to spend as much time as I can today actually demoing the features of Nintex Mobile and Nintex App Studio. So I've got very few slides. So I'm just going to jump right in to showing about Nintex Mobile. So let's do that. So what I've got here, you'll see here I've opened up I'm in a SharePoint 2013 environment. I've opened up and created a custom incident report. So I'm in the Nintex Forms Designer. And so you can see how I've got this all set up and laid out. I'm actually looking at the desktop view of this particular form. So the Nintex Forms tool allows you to customize your Nintex Forms within your site. So I'm in the desktop view. So now, in order to use Nintex Mobile within, to use this form with, you see at the top here I've got some layouts. So in this case, I'm just going to click on the Nintex Mobile phone layout, and what that's going to do is it's going to format that so that we can use that in the Nintex Mobile app. So in this case, you'll notice that it's same information. It's the same type of fields that are in there, but it's formatted for the Nintex mobile app. So the forms designer knows exactly the sizing and the spacing for that particular app to do. So once I'm done with my form and I've got it the way I want it to, all I have to do is publish it, and it publishes out there, publishes locally, then it publishes out there to the Nintex mobile piece that we can use. So once I've got it published, and what I'm going to do now is show you how the Nintex mobile piece works. So let me drag my screen sharing over here, and let's make sure we can fit that onto my screen here. Okay. There we go. Okay. So in this demo, I'm going to be using an iPhone. So this is my iPhone. This is what's on my screen here. So I'm going to open up Nintex Mobile. The first thing you'll notice is the authentication for the app. So in this case, I'm using some of the native features of the iPhone to be able to authenticate myself. So in this case, I've enabled the Touch ID for Nintex Mobile, so I'm going to go ahead and just from my screen be able to do that. And so what's going to happen there is by default, I will open it actually opens here in the task part of Nintex Mobile. So as you can see here, I've got a bunch of tasks that are assigned to me. I better get busy. I've got a lot to perform here. But it shows me all the tasks that are assigned to me that are enabled through Nintex Mobile. So I'm able to pick any of these tasks, open up the task, and respond to it just through my mobile device. So I can do that just as easy as I'm sending and receiving text on my device here. You'll notice at the top that I've got a couple options where I can either sort my tasks by certain criteria for whatever I want to do, or I can search for something. So in this case, I'm going to search for a leasing task. I know I've got something to do with leasing. So in this case, these are all the tasks that are related to leasing. So I'm going to click on the leasing to task. So in this case, this is a mobile. This is your mobile. This is your mobile form for that particular task. I could also get that on premise with this. So all I've got to do is just use some of the native touch features here. So for the required outcome, I can either approve or reject it. I can put comments in here and just say, looks good. And then at this point in time, I can actually go through and I can either submit it right now, and what that will do is the process will pick it up and move it forward. Or if I wanted to, let's say I'm not finished with this task, I started filling some information out and realize I need to go collect some more, I can actually click the close button. Then I can actually save these changes so that when I come back to this task, these comments or settings or what I've selected are actually there. So I'm going to go ahead and just save the changes here. So once I do that, you'll notice, of course, that I go back to it and they're there. So so that's a brief look at the task. Let me go to the menu here. So if I click on the menu here in the top left corner, this shows all the information within a Nintex Mobile that I can access. So we looked at task real quickly, and then now I'm going to look at the forms that I have access to. So what this does in this setup that I've got here, I've actually set it up so that I am authenticated into more than one environment. So what that means is with Nintex Mobile, you can authenticate it into a SharePoint on-premise environment, an Office 365 SharePoint environment, or Nintex Workflow Cloud environment. So I can see all the forms within those three authentication types that I have access to, and I only see the forms that I have access to. So I can't fill out something that I do with that. So in this case, I'm showing in essence, a hybrid environment where I've got some forms here that are in my Office 365 environment, but I've also got forms here that are in my SharePoint on-premise environment. So that's a great feature in that I can have all my forms in one place to fill out. So in our case here, we've got the incident report that we looked at here. So once again, I'm going to look at that. So this is what I had on my screen. This is what I published. And so this is what the report looks like from that layout view. So in this case, I've got some required information. I'm just going to fill out just real briefly to go through this real fast. some information here, just so I have that. So like everything else, I can actually close this if I wanted to, and then I could save it as a draft and then come back and fill it out later on at a different time, or I can submit it on the fly. One of the nice features about Nintex the Nintex Forms and Nintex Mobile piece here is I can actually start to fill out this form if I don't have connectivity. So say I'm on an airplane and I'm in airplane mode, or I'm out in the field and my phone just does not get any kind of reception. I don't have any connectivity. I can actually start and fill this out, form out, save it as a draft, or I can fill it out completely and hit the submit button. And what that will do is that will queue up the form so that when I do come back and I do have connectivity, the Nintex mobile app will automatically submit that form for me. So I can queue up a bunch of these. So looking at some of the features, I'm using some of the native features within this particular iPhone that I've got here. So I filled in the information. So I wanted to show a couple controls that I set up in here. So in this particular form, we had a client that needed to know geolocation. So here's the geolocation form where it says select location. All I have to do is hit the button here, and it automatically puts in, here in a moment, it automatically will put in my geolocation. So that comes in handy when I'm out in the field, and I need to know exactly where I am. So that's just an example of one of the controls. Also with attachments, I can attach files from my phone that I've done. So an example of that, where I could do photos and videos. So in this case, I'm going to attach a photo. So what I can do is I can select, there's my family from Easter. I can select one of my photos that I've already taken and attach it to here, or I can click the camera icon in the top left and I can take a photo of exactly where I am. So in this case, an incident report, I can actually take a photo of something that's wrong and have that documented, and it becomes part of this form, it becomes part of this record, so to speak. So once I do that, I can attach it. So I'm not going to do that here for the sake of time. So I can attach that to it. Another nice feature here is just with a very little bit of setup, I've added a signature pad. So this is a pretty cool feature. So I'm going to set this on the side. So I'm using the touch feature of my iPhone. So I can just start kind of signing my name here. So I can put my signature in here, either clear it or I can select done. And you'll notice here as I come back, that becomes part of the record also. So this will get saved with this form once I submit it. So that's a very cool feature that took very little effort for me to get set up here too. So once again, I can save or say this is a draft or delete it. I'm just going to save it as a draft for later on. So let's go take a look back. Now I'm back at the forms. Let's go take a look at the menu here. So you can see here the drafts feature. So I just saved this as a draft. If I go into my drafts folder, you can see the incident report that I just submitted, or that I just saved as a draft. I can go back in there, open it up, and resubmit that if I need to. The outbox, there's nothing in there right now, but that relates to the scenario I had when I was offline. And then if anything's queued up, it'll show there. And also, I can see the sent pieces for that particular piece. So what I mentioned before, I can also configure this for different environments, so I can see all that. So just keep in mind that through Nintex Mobile, I can see all the tasks that are assigned to me and all the environments, and I can also see all the forms that I have access to and all the different environments for there. So, so that's just a brief overview of Nintex Mobile. What I'm going to do now, let me move this off the screen, is I'm going to go back to the slide real quick, and next we're going to take a look at Nintex App Studio, and you'll see some of the features of that. These are the features of Nintex App Studio that I'm going to go over, but also you can see where there's overlap with Nintex Mobile, but also where there's differences, and I'm definitely going to point that out as we go along here. So these are the features of Nintex App Studio, and I'm definitely going to touch on each one of those as we go along. So without further ado, I promise very few slides. Let's go right into a demo of Nintex App Studio. So this is an online application that you sign into as part of your Nintex Forms Enterprise license if you're signed up for that. Let me take a moment just to make a note of that. You can with Nintex Mobile, the Nintex Mobile app is free that you can download on for any device through the App Store. So you can do that through the Apple iStore, through Android. You can also download it from the Windows, and you can use it on Windows Phone also for that. This App Studio is part of your Nintex Mobile sorry, your Nintex Forms Enterprise subscription, and you have to have that to be able to work with this. So let's start out with the demo. I've set up just a pro demo here, so I can kind of show off some of the features of Nintex App Studio. So in this case, if I mouse over this, I got a couple options here. I've already started to set up one of these, so I can either edit what's already there or I can deploy the app. We'll talk about app deployment here kind of towards the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to edit it. If I wanted to, I could go to the top here and create a brand new one and start from scratch. But for the sake of this webinar, I'm just going to edit some of the features of that. So this takes you to the general screen of Nintex App Studio. So you'll notice that at the very top, the app details, that's what you fill in first. So in this case, I just fill in the details, the name of the app, the description. The description only shows during the app. The name shows as part of the app itself, and then a URL scheme. So what the URL scheme is I define a custom scheme here that I can use for linking to other content, either external content or content as part of this particular app. Then at the bottom, you'll also see that I can choose which platforms that I target this particular app for. So this is I'm building a custom app here, and I can choose which platform I want to use. So if my organization only used iPhones and iPads, then I could choose to only select the platform, the iPhone, iPad platform. But these are your options you have as far as choose platforms that are down here towards the bottom. The other thing I want to make note of too as I'm going through this demo is on the right-hand side you see a preview of the app. So I'm going to scroll through. You've got 5 different screens that you show, and this will really come into play as I start to do some of the customization of the app. So as I'm clicking on this, you'll see that these are some example screens of what the app will look like once I got it built. So you'll see this change though as I do certain pieces within here. So once I'm done with all the general settings that I want to fill in for the particular app, I can go to the connection settings. So like Nintex Mobile, I can connect to multiple environments. So these are the options I have to connect my custom app here too. So I can connect to corporate or your SharePoint on-prem environment. I can connect to Office 365 or Nintex Workflow Cloud. I can also connect to a Microsoft account. There is a caveat to this. If I connect to a Microsoft account, then I won't be able to connect to one of these other 3 top connectors here. It's kind of an either or. You either have to do some of one of the 3 accounts at the top or the Microsoft account there. So there's a distinction. That's a caveat for that. The maximum I can have of connections for this particular app is 5. And where connections come into play is that it allows you to set up beforehand which environments this app is going to target. So that's a little bit different than the mobile app in that once I target an environment in the mobile app, Nintex mobile app, I see all the forms from that target, or see all the tasks from that target that I have access to. In this case, I'm just setting up the link or the connection to which environment I want to use, and then going from there once I sign into that specific app. So one of these, if I wanted to, I could select, an example of that would be select the Office 365. I could put a display name in there and then give it the path. Once I sign in, then I'll have to put in my credentials and it'll authenticate to there. So I'm just going to cancel there. So once I've got all my connections set up, this is where some of the magic happens with Nintex App Studio. And this is where I can really customize and brand my app here. So I'm going to click over to Theme. And once I get to Theme, you see a couple of options that I've got here too. So the first thing is I can, as part of my customization, as part of my branding, I can select and add my own artwork. So these are the default out-of-the-box art that's there. You can only use PNG files, and you've got specific dimensions that you have to upload. So that's good because you can you don't have to worry about your images getting on there and then being distorted as far as the sizing goes. So they're very specific in what you can upload. So in this case, I've actually generated a couple of logos, just a sample logo to show an example of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to upload one of my logos here that I've done for Techno Services, which is a fictional company. And I've got a 1300 by 1300 logo. So if you'll notice though, once I click open and once this uploads, watch the right-hand side of the screen on the preview. So what that will do is it will automatically show this logo in the app and what it's going to look like. So that definitely helps you customize. It definitely helps you see what it's going to be like. So once I've uploaded all my artwork here, then I can actually choose a color scheme for this. So by default, out of the box, there are 8 color schemes that come with this. And clicking on any one of them will change, the look and feel of the actual app. So when I click on this one, you can see the app changes as far as the preview goes. I'll click through some of the screens and you can see a little bit what it looks like. Go back over here to the menu. And I click through different ones. You can see how it kind of changes as I move along. Now, your company may have its own custom branding, on a custom style sheet, on your own customized color scheme, and you can definitely accommodate that. What you can do is I can click on one of these and start with that, and then I can go through here and click on customize. So what it will do is I have 5 elements that I can customize as far as the colors and schemes go. So in this case, it'll tell you what elements of the application, when I change the color, which ones it'll impact. So I've got these different pieces. So if I go here and watch the preview as I go on to the right here, actually I'll go back to the home page and take a look at that. And if I click on this, and let's say I want to change the orange to a blue, I can either use a color picker, or if I know the actual code for my color, I can add that directly into it. So in this case, let's just for contrast, we'll just do a blue. I can do that and click choose. You can see that that changes some of the elements of this particular preview. So as I go through here, you can see in different places in here, it'll show up. So that will allow you to customize and brand your app according to your standards for your company. And so you can have different apps. You can have multiple apps set up for different purposes, and they can, if you have different color schemes or different branding requirements, you can definitely set that up. All right, so once I've got my theme set up, now it's time to get into the content here. So all I'm going to do here, I'm just going to revert this back to the beginning of this. So what I'm going to do here in the content, this applies to the menu. So in this case, these are out of the box. This is the content that comes with this, and this is similar to what you saw in Nintex Mobile, but you can take it a step further and customize all this. So you've got your different menu options. When you notice, I'll mouse over and they change color. This menu allows me to reorder things. So all I got to do is take, like if I want a draft to be in the 3rd position, watch the right-hand side. I click on drafts, drag it up there, and it changes the ordering of that on the fly. So I can rearrange my items as much as I need to. So you'll notice, though, I got forms and tasks at the very top. You'll notice, though, I've got a couple of different options here where I can add a filter to. So let's talk about that real quickly. So for forms, if I click on Add Filter, what this will allow me to do is either show all the forms, which is basically the equivalent of what you see for in Nintex Mobile for all the environments you're logged into, or I can show or hide listed forms. So in this case, if we're using the incident report, I can actually set it up so that my app here is tailored for this incident, and it only shows me the form or forms that are related to the incident. So in this case, I've got it set up so it only shows the incident report, and that's the only form I have available to me. So I'll say okay there. Same thing with tasks. So instead of me seeing all my tasks, I can actually set it up so that I only show tasks for listed workflows. So what I can do is if I've only got a handful, 1 or 2 or so workflows with tasks related to the incident report, I can set this app up so that it'll only show me the tasks that are related to those specific workflows. And so I can add those here, and it will only show me those pieces. So you can see that will actually allow you to customize and target this app toward your specific audience, whether that be a department, whether that be a business function, or multiple companies, multiple divisions, as far as how you've got that set up. So those are things that I can do with some of the out of the box, but also I can further customize my content by clicking on this button up here, and I can add some more custom content. So in this case, I'm going to add a menu item. I can select the icon that I want to. I can give this a name. So in this case, I'm just going to say more information. And then I can select what I want that when I click on, or when I select that menu item, where it goes. So I can either have content that it goes to, or I can use the scanning functionality to scan something like a QR code within here. So in this case, I'm going to select content, and I'm going to click add. So what that will allow me to do, you'll notice that that drops it in the very first selection. If I want to move that all the way down to the bottom, then I can add custom content that this will reference. So when I click add content, what I can do is I can upload that content. So types of content that I can upload could be a video file. It could be a document such as a PDF. You can even do Word, Excel, PowerPoint documents that you could add up to here. And then also what I could do is have this point to some custom content. And that could be an HTML file that I've developed that has all kinds of customized features in there. So I could have links that go to external sites, or I could have links that go to internal content based upon this. So you get a lot of options in what you can do that. Now the maximum one note thing to make note of is the maximum you can do is 50 megabytes. So once I'm done with that, and I've got this exactly the way I want to as far as that, I got two options. I can either save this as a draft, which will allow me to actually save this and go back and work on it until I'm ready, or once I'm done, I can click save and build. And what that'll do is it'll save this, and it'll actually build this and create an app package to be able to use for that. So I'm not going to save this right now. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Let's go back out to the home to my actual app. So what you can do with that is once you click app deploy, you can set it up so that it only goes to a certain targeted distribution list. So you can set up a distribution list of users that it only goes to. And then you can send that email manually that will alert them that when it's done. You can also auto deploy the system, the app when it's done. So if I make changes and tell it to build it, then it could auto deploy this. So it allows you to do that. So on the left-hand side here, you see the MDM information, the mobile device management information. So I told it I only wanted to build it for Android or iPhone or iPad. So these are the actual builds that I can use here. And also a nice new feature that you have here is you can use the reporting to show information about the emails that went out as well as the downloads from that. So that's a real brief, that's an overview of Nintex Mobile and Nintex App Studio. I hope you can see the power of that. There's a lot of nice features that you can use here, and you can customize and mobilize your workforce to be able to work with that. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Julia to see if we have any questions.
Great. Thanks, Eric. Please answer your questions in the question window. We will get to a few now. Which systems and devices does Nintex Mobile support?
Good question. You're able to support multiple devices through Nintex Mobile, and you're able to keep your experience, your custom experience throughout those. So what you're able to do, the devices that are supported, any kind of Apple device, so they support iPhones, iPads, and even iPods. You can actually load this on there. Any Android devices, for Nintex Mobile, you can actually have that on a Windows 8 or Windows 10 desktop, as well as the Windows Phone. These actually support that too.
And is this available for SharePoint on-prem and Office 365?
Yes, it is available for Nintex Mobile and even the App Studio. You can use that with both SharePoint on-premise and Office 365, as well as in conjunction with the Nintex Workflow Cloud.
Okay, great. And how many apps can I build using Nintex App Studio? Okay,
yes, good question there. That's one thing I didn't mention there. With the App Studio, if you're a subscriber to the Nintex Forms Enterprise subscription, then you can actually build an unlimited number of apps. So you're not actually limited to how many you can do, as long as you're in that at all the different workflow plan levels. As long as you have that enterprise subscription as part of that, you can build as many of those as you want to. So you can kind of see, the power of this, and you can and how you can customize and how you can target different apps and different functions for your workforce.
Okay, great. We did have a question about the recording. Today's recording will be up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ProtivitiSP. We will be sending out the link to all the attendees once it's up and running, probably tomorrow morning. And then the last question, how much does this cost?
So for Nintex Mobile, the app is free to download for whichever platform you have there. So that the app itself is free, and then as long as you have, it's available. Nintex Mobile is available for any license you have of Nintex Forms. So even if you have a standard version of Nintex Forms, you can actually utilize this functionality. When we get into the App Studio, that's included as part of the subscription plan, but you have to have the enterprise version of that. And like I mentioned, if you do have that enterprise subscription, you can create as many custom apps as you need to.
Okay, I think that's all the questions we have today, and we are 1 minute past the hour, so it's perfect timing. Thank you, Eric, for the great presentation today.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Yes, thanks everyone for attending, and we will see you on May 11th for our next webinar. Have a great day, everyone.